The entry point. That night, there's a moment I keep coming back to. I was falling, not metaphorically, literally falling. Pure darkness, this nauseating sense of speed, and the absolute certainty that this was it. I woke up at 3 a.m. with my heart hammering like I just sprinted a mile, hands shaking. Lying there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, I kept asking myself, why does my brain do this to me? Why does it spend a third of my life creating these things? So I started looking into it. And what I found completely changed the way I think about sleep. That falling dream wasn't random. It wasn't a glitch. It was my brain doing something very specific, something that, according to some of the most compelling research in neuroscience right now, might literally be keeping me alive. Today, we're going to get into what's actually happening while you sleep. Why your brain simulates danger, loss, and fear on a nightly basis. And why the people who stop dreaming, or can't dream, pay a price that most of us never see coming. What's happening while you sleep? Most people think of sleep as the absence of something. You switch off, the world goes quiet, and you wait for morning. But your brain doesn't get that memo. About 90 minutes after you fall asleep, something shifts. Your body goes almost completely still. Your muscles lose tone. You become temporarily paralyzed, but your brain lights up like it's the middle of the afternoon. This is REM, sleep, rapid eye movement. And neuroscientists have been trying to fully understand it for decades because what happens inside it is genuinely strange. Your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for logic, judgment, and rational thinking, goes quiet. But your amygdala, the emotional core of your brain, becomes hyperactive. Your hippocampus starts pulling memories from days, months, years ago and stitching them together in combinations that would never happen while you're awake. You're not resting. You're running a simulation. A deeply emotional, memory-saturated, fully immersive simulation. And you have no control over what gets loaded into it. The question scientists kept asking was, why? Why would evolution keep this expensive, vulnerable state of consciousness around for millions of years unless it was doing something absolutely essential? The brain that rehearses death. In the early 2000s, a Finnish neuroscientist named Antti Revonsuo proposed something that most of his colleagues found deeply uncomfortable. He called it the threat simulation theory. His argument was this: dreaming evolved as a biological training ground, a place where your brain could rehearse dangerous situations, predators, falling, social rejection, physical confrontation, without any real-world consequences. Every nightmare you've ever had, every chase, every moment of dream panic, wasn't your brain malfunctioning. It was your brain practicing. Think about what that actually means. Every time you dream about being chased and you feel that surge of terror, your amygdala is firing. Your stress hormones are activating. Your fight or flight circuitry is running a full rehearsal. And then you wake up, unharmed, but slightly more prepared. Your nervous system has logged another session, another rep. Revonsuo found that threatening events appear in dreams far more often than their actual frequency in waking life would predict. We dream about danger disproportionately, and the more threatening your real-world environment, war zones, childhood trauma, high-stress situations, the more vivid and frequent those threatening dreams become. This isn't your brain being cruel. This is your brain being a very dedicated coach who refuses to let you go into the game unprepared. And here's where it gets even more interesting. More recent research out of the University of Geneva found that the specific emotions you process during REM sleep, particularly fear, directly affect how you respond to similar situations when you're awake. People who had more REM sleep before being exposed to a fearful stimulus showed less anxiety and a faster recovery time. The dream hadn't just rehearsed the fear, it had diffused it. when the dreams disappear. So what happens when the system breaks down? People with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, often experience something called REM disruption. Their sleep architecture is fundamentally altered. They wake repeatedly during the night. They spend less time in REM, and when they do dream, the normal emotional processing that should happen gets stuck. Instead of working through the fear, the brain replays it, exactly as it happened, with the same intensity, over and over. Matthew Walker, a sleep scientist at UC Berkeley, describes this as the difference between remembering something and being trapped inside it. Healthy REM sleep strips the emotional charge from a memory. You can recall the event without reliving the full weight of it. PTSD, in a very real neurological sense, is what happens when that stripping process fails. The dream can't do its job, and the person wakes up as raw and overwhelmed as the moment the trauma first occurred. But REM disruption doesn't only happen in extreme cases. Alcohol suppresses REM sleep, which is why drinking might help you fall asleep but leaves you feeling emotionally flat and reactive the next day. Certain antidepressants do the same. Chronic sleep deprivation cuts your REM phases short before they can complete their work. And what accumulates over time isn't just tiredness. It's unprocessed emotional weight, anxiety that has nowhere to go, a nervous system that never fully recovers between days. There was a study that took this further. Researchers kept participants in a state of total dream deprivation while allowing normal, non-REM sleep. Within days, the subjects began showing signs of emotional instability, heightened anxiety, and in some extreme cases, hallucinations during waking hours. Their brains, denied the simulation, started running it anyway. The processing couldn't wait. Your dreams aren't a bonus feature, they're infrastructure. Coming back to that night, so I think back to that moment. 3 a.m., heart pounding, that overwhelming sense of having just survived something. I used to think of that as my brain failing me. Now I think of it differently. My brain was doing exactly what it was built to do. Loading a high-stakes scenario, running me through it, measuring my response, filing it away. A rehearsal I didn't sign up for, but apparently needed. There's something quietly profound about that. Every person who's ever woken up shaking from a nightmare, every person who's dreamed about losing someone they love, every person who's found themselves running from something they couldn't see, their brain wasn't being irrational. It was being meticulous, taking care of business while the conscious mind was offline. We spend so much time trying to control our waking hours that we forget we have an entire second life happening in the dark. One that processes what the day couldn't. One that prepares us for what the next day might bring. One that, according to the research, we genuinely cannot afford to lose. Your dreams might feel like noise, but they might also be the most important conversation your brain ever has with itself, and it happens every single night, whether you remember it or not.